Hi, guys. So we are just at 7 o'clock now. I'm going to give everyone just a couple minutes to get in and make sure we're all in a good spot. I think y'all can see me there. And I'm going to see what's going on here with me. There we go, so I can follow along. Excellent. Hope you're all having a good Saturday. It is, because what we're talking, well, I'll get into what we're talking about in a minute. Let me just give you guys a sec. Hey, look, there's a lot of us. Hello, Mr. Drew. Based on some feedback I got from some other people, hey, Terry, the big discussion people wanted to find out about tonight in our sagas of talking about Orlando and vacations and Disney, etc., is about what it costs. How much is it going to cost for me to go there and spend time? Now, as I always do with these, I'm going to give it the assumption that it's a 7-day trip. You get there as early as you can on the first day. You leave as late as you can on the last day, which means you're actually only spending, well, it depends on how you want to do it. You could do a 6 nights and be 7 physical days, or you could actually do 8 days with 7 nights, depending on cost-wise, if you're going to get a better deal, if you stay 7 nights or not. It's a matter of sussing it out and seeing what your free time is, etc. But we're going to talk about what you need to save, how much it would cost you to be able to do this. So, and if you guys have questions or comments or thoughts during the range of this, please go ahead, type them in. You've got your little chat window on the side there, and we can communicate, and I can see how much I can address. Now, I can obviously only speak from my personal experience on these, but I did a little bit of research. So the things you are going to need to pay for, depending on where you're staying, you're talking about your flight or your transportation there, your tickets, your hotel, your food, your transportation, if you need it in amongst where you're going, any tips, and then in terms of Disney, if you're going to do Memory Maker or if you're going to add any special tours. Those are the things that are going to end up costing you additional money. Now, I can tell you that by staying at my timeshare, if I equate out what I pay out during the year for points, it could and I get a flight and I can rebook it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I can end up spending, because I eat well, I'm going to preface it with that, I eat well, including souvenirs and things, I can end up spending around $3,500. Just putting that flat out there. But I go during Christmas, which is the most expensive time of the year. Now, let's start with the first thing. So getting there. Some people will drive to save money, but do understand, if you're staying on property at Disney, if you drive there, they charge you for parking every day now. Not always the best thing. So just be aware, pardon me, I left something on, I had to turn off. Just be aware that if you drive, that's going to be an additional expense for you. If you're staying at a hotel, sometimes they're going to charge you. My timeshare doesn't charge me, but I'm already paying for going there. And I believe that some of Universal charges as well. So preface it with that. If you're taking your car down, that's what you're going to have. If you are staying off property and you're still going to be flying down, you will then end up having to talk about Ubers or Lyft or something like that. We'll get to that a little bit later. But your initial flight to get down. Now, I'm going to preface this for people watching that I'm in the Baltimore, D.C. area, and I'm going to give you the pricing that I understand for getting a flight. Now, even at the worst times of the year right now, and it's gone up over the last few years, the round trip flight around Christmas time, if you book it smartly, you can get it for around $400 to $420. I've been able to do that. When I first started doing these, I could do it under $300. It's been 10 years, pricing has continued to go up. But the trick with it are for the DC area, and if you're from another part of the world, preferably in the US, because I don't think they fly outside of the US, Southwest. If you can fly via Southwest, I highly recommend it. Unless you've got an airline that gives you a tremendous deal. The thing with Southwest is you can book the flight as soon as they become available, so you get the flights you want. Then what you can do is go back to the site, Check it every couple of weeks, check it every day if you want, depending on when you're booking. If the price goes down for the flight you want, you can rebook it. They do not charge you for this. You're just changing out the plane or the price point level as long as it's available, and you can reduce your price. Now, the caveat on this is they don't give you the money back. They leave it as a credit on the account. But if you plan on flying at some other time that year, especially somewhere where Southwest is going to go, you can use those dollars anytime within a year from your initial booking date, and you can purchase another flight. Exactly. 2 free bags, Terry. You are correct. Because anywhere else, you're going to pay for your flight. You get stuck with that price unless someone on Orbitz happens to buy it at a cheaper rate. And I don't even know if they offer that anymore. And then you have to pay for your bags with the airline. And if you're going to Disney, you're going to pack at least one big old bag, and it's probably going to be over 40 pounds for Spirit, and it's going to be over 50 for pretty much every other airline. Drew's like, yeah, and Drew talks, is Drew, our techno man, is talking about the apps that help you watch the prices drop. Now, because of Southwest, you don't necessarily have to do that. And if I remember correctly, Drew, when we booked this last trip, your app hadn't told you to go ahead and start buying tickets when I said, let's go buy tickets, but we still ended up being able to take the price down. And what we did, because if you don't necessarily fly a lot, you don't want to keep credits on your account. What you can do, and we did, is we booked a lower ticketed price. So say right now, the flights I really wanted were going to cost me $500. But I didn't necessarily want to leave that much of a $100 credit on their account by the time everything calculates back. So what I did is I said, all right, well, we know we want this one flight going back, so we'll hold that one. But for the first flight, let's go ahead and book this one the night before. And if we stay somewhere else the night before, cool. Or if not, we can rebook it once the pricing drops. And that's what we did. So there was only maybe a $40 credit or something left on the account once we were able to repurchase and take the price down. Hello to the new person who came in. You're welcome to come say hi in the chat. We're talking about the costs for Disney or Universal staying, traveling and doing a week-long vacation, just to give you an idea of what kind of stuff you need to save. So we're talking about, like I said, about $400 for the flight. Now, if you're not going during Christmas, kudos to you. I can tell you that right now, if I was trying to book the flight I needed to do in June, which I'm still trying to get sorted out, I could do the flight for $250. In January or September, you might even get better pricing. It's just a matter of supply and demand. So while I gave you that $3,500 level, please understand that price can drop down based on what you're going to do, based on costs, based on time of year, based on, costs, but you'll be able to reduce that some. So that's where you're looking at flights. Now, once you get there, then you've got to decide, are you going to rent a car or are you going to do Ubers, etc. Now, if you're staying on Disney property, don't rent a car. Don't rent a car. You want to take the Magical Express. They cover the cost. It takes you to your hotel. It will take about an hour to an hour and a half from the airport to get there. And as Drew can attest, it was actually a lovely experience because you can pre-check your bags depending on the time you land. And you get these lovely tags mailed to you and you stick them on your suitcase and you check them at the airport and you go away. You will not see those bags for a while. So please keep with you any medications, any of the important stuff you need. If you want, you can put everything in those checked bags and walk on with just what you would hit the parks with. Or you can do what we did, which is I actually had a rolling bag with me as well that we put some personals in because we did have to go to the hotel to physically check in and activate our magic bands, make sure everything was working the way it was supposed to. So you have both of those as options, just so you know. And we did that mostly because we had the dining plan and we wanted to make sure the dining plan got activated. If we didn't have the dining plan, we could have just gone straight to the parks. But you do have to, if you're going to ship your luggage through the Magical Express, you have to be on the Magical Express, just so you know. But once you're on property, you've got buses, you're going to have the gondolas opening soon, you've got boats, you've got the monorail, and you could do Uber or Lyft if you want to get there really early before the buses start running, or really late after they've stopped, or you just want to get there faster than everybody else. You've got those options, and they're not super expensive. Now, if you want to go to the minivan, that costs a lot more, almost 3 times as much per trip. I was looking at some of the Uber pricing that we had from our last trip. And I mean, going from our timeshare to Disney or timeshare to Universal was about $14 one way, and that was including a tip I put on top of it. 14. I think the most I had one was for 18, and it was holiday season, so we tipped generously. So, so I mean, it's not an ungodly amount of cost. You're getting there once in the morning, you're coming back once in the evening, and you're using whatever company's ability to travel is while you're there. So if you're staying on Disney property, you can eliminate that travel cost or minimize it significantly. If you know that you want to get somewhere really early, or you're going to want to kind of cut time and do Lyft or Uber, then go ahead and account for about $100. If you're renting a car because you're staying off property and you do want to have the car, then you're going to want to go ahead and account for anywhere for a week from $200 to $360. The last time that we rented a car, it was about $360. I got a deal 1 year through my AAA membership that was really, really good. So find those groups. If you have AAA, if you have any of those extra plans, look and see what kind of deals they can give you. And sometimes you'll be surprised about what you can get. So that's if you're off property. Now, also, if you're off property, then you're talking about parking. Premium regular parking for Disney, which because they have the trams is pretty good, is $25 per day. Now, if you go from park to park, it's still a flat $25 rate. Once you've paid once, you're done. Did that price include the parking? The $360 or wait, which price are we talking about, Drew? Because you got a delay for me, so I just saw your message pop up. But I'll keep talking until you get there. So parking at Disney is $25 for the parks if you're off property. If you're on property and you want to have the car, rental car pricing does not know. That was just the cost of the rental car. Parking is an additional concept. So $25 for parking at Disney. Hold on, I wrote it down. Universal parking is $25 for the regular parking, but you do not want the regular parking. You want the preferred parking. Preferred parking gets you in the parking garage toward the main levels, and it's $40 per day. And the car goes in and stays. And I think you can keep your little tag that lets them see you've already paid, so you're only paying once a day, but per day. If you come after, I think, 6 p.m. and you want to do city walk stuff, the pricing drops significantly, but you're still going to pay for parking. So when we start talking tickets, we're going to revisit these parking costs because they kind of become important. But say you're doing 5 days, you want to do, 7 days. Generally, I recommend 5 days Disney, 2 days Universal, unless you're an absolute Universal fanatic and you like the really crazy coasters and things. But on the standard ones that I would plan, that's usually what I do. So that being said, you've got $80 to park at Universal. You've got $125 to park at Disney. So you're talking $205 in parking on top of the rental car. Now that means you're talking $500 to $600, unless you can get a really cheap rental car, to cover all of those costs. Then you got to look at what an Uber would be. Say you're paying $30 a day of property to Uber in and Uber out, and you're probably talking about $60 from your place to the airport. Okay, so that's 120, and then you're talking 30 a day is another 210, and you're splitting this between 2 people, then you're talking $400. Now, if you can get a car rental for $200, and then you're looking at the Ubers, etc., for another $210, then yeah, it might be worth it. But if your car is going to start costing more than $200 or $250, then you probably really just want to go and do Ubers and Lyft and just rely on that for your trip. And because you're in a tourist town, they're everywhere. It's really easy to get them, and Drew can attest to that. Again, we're going to revisit this when we start talking about ticket pricing, which we're going to go to now, because the next, well, no, let's do it in order. So the next thing is you land there. Now you've got to have a place to put your luggage. Okay, so if you are staying at Disney property, and I got a generic range on hotels because it really is, it's all based on the time of year. It's based on the number of people in the room, all kinds of things like that. You're looking at anywhere from $90 a night for the campsites where you bring your own vehicle in, up to, just for a regular 2-person room, $700 a night. You could go to a villa. You could go up to $2,000 a night $2,200 for, I think, the Polynesian villas at per night. So yeah, you could blow an insane budget on the rooms. You don't have to. They call them the value resorts, but the least expensive, the all-star resorts, you can get in those even at the highest cost time of year under $200 a night. They're going to be a little more walking. They're going to be more bus stops, so it takes a little longer to get to parks. But if money is your concern, then you've just dropped your price significantly. Now, Drew and I stayed at Port Orleans during the holiday, Port Orleans French Quarter during the holiday, and we ended up paying about $325 before taxes per night for the nights we were staying on property. And actually, we got that reduced because we started looking at prices, and I think we ended up paying just under $300 a night, which is kind of fabulous. Hello, new person. Please come and say hi, and say hi in the chat, talking about costs. So if you're going to stay on property and you want to go as inexpensively as possible, those are the prices you're looking at for Disney. Now, if you're looking at Universal, and what I did is I looked at pricing both at September and December, because the way all of these places are now doing it is it bases on activity. And December is going to be your highest because of the Christmas week. And September is going to be like mid-September, September 17th was some of the lowest pricing I saw when I did like kind of a shot through. So September, a hotel room for one night is anywhere from $119 a night to $292 a night. And they will constantly offer specialty deals. So you always want to go and look at the special offers. The December pricing was $173 per night for the least expensive and $480 for the bottom line of the higher one. Now, you may want a slightly better view. These are going to be your bare bones views on all of these, but so the price will go up and up and up. And you can get club level, where club level will have a specialty lounge in the hotel where you can get snacks and discounted drink or free drinks, actually, in some of these. I know that's how they do it at Disney. And if you're not going to be in the parks all day long, spend a little more money on your hotel. If you're going to really just from 8 a.m. in the morning to, after midnight, don't spend the money on the hotel. Go to one of the lesser expensive places and maybe realize that you might want to take an Uber back to your hotel room at the end of the night, and you don't want to walk that whole distance. That could be your plan to kind of compensate for costs. But so you're looking at, for the timeshare, the equivalent in terms of dollars is for a week is about anywhere from $700 to $1,500, depending on how many bedrooms that suite is. If you're looking at the Disney property, so if you were doing, say, $200 a night plus taxes, so say the taxes take you up to $230 a night, give or take, for 7 nights, you're talking about $230 times 7 is 21 to, my brain is not mathing very well. Say $300 a night because I'm slow. So 21 plus another 14 would be $2,250-ish. So you're talking $2,300 for the room. If there's 2 people, obviously you split it and you can assume your cost is dropping there. If that's the moderate level, that's your mid-range. You could go significantly higher, or you could drop. I won't say you'll go down by half, but you'll go down by at least a third if you go to one of the values. That's Christmas time. If you did it when they were doing the lesser expensive times, what do they say? Like, I think you can do it like around $200 a night when you go in like September, or when I'm going actually using the bounce back, which I can talk about if anyone has questions about that, in June. So $200 a night for 7 nights would only be $1,400 plus taxes, obviously. But the taxes, I think, was like $840 for 4 nights. So you're talking 10 more bucks a night. It's not ungodly, but so that's where you're looking at cost-wise there. Then we start talking about tickets. Oh boy, your tickets are a big old, it's like Jenga. So the way that Disney's let's do Universal. It's easier. So the way that Universal's tickets work is they will always be offering special deals. The places you're going to want to look for your pricing on tickets for Universal is either through the Universal site in advance, or for a discounted price, go to Undercover Tourist. And there are some other companies, and if any of you have worked with a company that that you like, that had discounted tickets, then you can put them in. But these guys are authorized sellers of the tickets. And yeah, everything is just a little bit cheaper. So for Universal, if you were going, let me see, that's Disney, Universal tickets. All right. So right now, for example, Universal is offering a specialty deal, and I think it goes through September, where if you buy 2 days worth of tickets, park to park, for the 2 parks, I'm not counting the water park. If you want to add that in, think about upping your price on that. But if you're doing the 2 parks for 2 days, they give you 3 days free. So you have a total of 5 days in the parks, just for park to park. And if you like Harry Potter at all, you need to get the park to park, because there's one ride you can only do if you get the park to park. So that cost right now is $285 for 2 days park to park. And this is adults. And I'm only going to give you the adult pricing. Understand that the child pricing is not much lower. And understand that at Disney, the adult pricing starts at like age 8, 9. You're paying for adults pretty early on, just to be aware of that. So, and that would, yeah, like if you bought these before you got to the park, you would save $50 at Universal's pricing, and then you can get that much more with Undercover Tourist. So so their price on the regular website was $285. Undercover Tourist had the 2 day plus 3 days park to park for $271. So there's $14 off right there per person. Now they had some additional options. Oh, and then if you wanted to get the specialty bit where you can cut the lines, the Express Pass they talk about, then you're looking at an unlimited Express Pass. All right, so Express Pass has 2 different versions. You've got the General Express Pass, which allows you to cut the line once for every ride. And that one in September is $70. Then you've got the unlimited, which means you can go on and on and on to that ride. You could go on the same ride 50 times and Express Pass it every single time. That one is $85. When it comes to Christmas time, those same events, the Express Pass is $150 for one time on every ride. And the unlimited is $180 on top of your ticket price. Okay. Now, where is this combo? 3 days park to park is $281. Okay. So yeah, if you're doing, and then a 1 day ticket, if you just wanted to go there for 1 day, it's $170 to do park to park for 1 day. Now they're not seasonally based in terms of those tickets. But when you do the multiple days, yeah, you're talking about, I take that back. The seasonal price is $115 in September and $170 in December. So they are seasonally priced. But so you're looking at, if you wanted to do 2 days, like say you wanted to do them in September and you do want to get that Express Pass, you're talking about $356 plus tax to get those. Now, if you did it through, you can't get the Express Pass through Undercover Tourist. You can get it when you get to the site, or you can pre-buy it. You can buy it after the fact. But that's kind of the least expensive you would get, and you could do more days at Universal if you wanted. Then we get to Disney. Disney now sets up their tickets so that you pay based on the first day of the first ticket you're going to use. So you kind of know when you need to know when you're going to be there. For the last trip that I was planning, or the one I'm setting up for the holidays, because the group's not arriving until the 26th, but we're going to do Universal that first day. They're not looking at their tickets until the 27th. So that's what we started with their tickets when they look to book for their days. And they only allow like a couple extra days beyond the time frame. You have to kind of like buy another grouping of tickets. It's very strange. I can't say that I understand all of it yet. But luckily this year I won't have to, and we'll explain that in a moment. So if you were buying a 1 day ticket in September, the price range could be $109. I'm sorry, a 1 day regular ticket, 1 park, 1 day, $109 for September, $159 for December. If you want to add the park hopper, which means you're going to go to more than 1 park, and if you're only doing 1 day, you might want to do that so that you're getting the most out of it. But that jumps your price. In September, the park hopper becomes $169 for 1 day and $219 in December around the holidays. So now we'll talk about if you just wanted to do Disney the whole time, 7-day trip. Then you're looking at the price drops per day price, and the low price would be, I think I calculated these wrong. $61 a day for 7 days would be $427, and $83 on the Christmas time would be $581. If you were doing 5 days, I wrote it wrong on my paper. That's what happened. This is the 5. If you were doing I think I did that part. Pardon me. I'm just looking at this plus. Okay. So so my numbers are kind of screwy. I was trying to write this out. The park hopper addition to this. So if you're doing the 5-day, which is 83, so 400. All right. So if you're doing the 5-day, sorry. The 7-day trip is 427 in September, is 581 in December. No park hopper. To add on the park hopper is $75 more in September, which would make it about $500. And it would be another $100 on top of the 581 in December, which would make it about $570. $670. Okay. That's 5 days with a park hopper around the holiday season. If you were going to do 7 days, wow, I'm talking circles here. So that's the 7 days. That was what we were just talking, was 7 days. Now, for the plan I normally do, which is 5 days Disney, 2 days Universal. We've already got our Universal pricing. Now we're looking at the 5 days at Disney. And the 5 days will be $83 to $114 per day. That's what they break it down as. So you're looking at $415 to $570 for the tickets. Add on top of that the park hopper. It's going to be $99 for the September time, and $500 and $120 for no. That was to there. Yeah. This is this 5. So it's $415 plus $75, which would make it $490. And then on the Christmas time, you're looking at $581 plus the $95. So it's, again, you're talking around the $600. So and then if you go to Undercover for Tourist, right now they've got a deal for those states for the September, for the 5 days, $478 with the park hopper. Hold on. 6 days. Man, take a note. It was so convoluted. It was so crazy. It's cheaper through Undercover Tourist, and they will also give you some additional discounts if you get both Universal and Disney. You're looking at saving with the park hopper, which is probably what these guys are here, $422 to $576, and then $494 to, there we go. That's what it was. Okay, so they were offering a special deal. If you're not park hopping, buy 4 days, get 2 days free. So you got 6 days without park hopping at $418 to $574, depending on the time of year. And then a 5-day with the park hopper, because when you got the park hopper, it dropped it. This is your September pricing, was $478 to $632. Then the 7-day without the park hopper was $422 instead of the pricing, the $427, and $576 around the holiday season instead of the $570. Then when you add the park hopper, it was $495 for September and $646 for December, which is with the park hopper. What do we say? $570. You're talking about $15 to $25 cheaper. It's a significant price drop. It's worth it and even if you're staying on property and it's not a package deal where they discount it because you're getting the tickets and the part and all that together, it's still worth looking at it and pricing it out to see if it's going to be cheaper to go the tickets through the outside. Now here's the thing. So we said that for the 5 days, it is, I'm going to go with Christmas time because that's when I travel. So the 5 days was $570. And then if you added the park hopper, that was another $95. So that was $665. Okay. The annual pass this year for Disney is $894. Now, we talked briefly about parking fees. Parking fees are $25 a day. If you are not staying on property, that's $125. So if you add $125 to that amount, that is now $790. You are only $104 away from the cost of the annual pass. Add on top of that, with the annual pass, you will get 10% off of pretty much every restaurant and off of a lot of your souvenir shopping. You won't get your alcohol at a discount, but you'll get the other stuff. Add on top of that, that you can get the Memory Maker for free. The Memory Maker is this wonderful program they have where you can go up to any of the park photographers, they take your picture, they scan your band, and all of your pictures show up. And you, good, bad, or otherwise, you've got them all. And you get free digital downloads. You can pay to have them print out hard copies, or you can go somewhere and get them printed out, but you have all of them. You can also go onto their site and do little like decorating thingies on them if you want, but you get them all. It's $170 if you buy it up front, at least multiple days in advance of your trip, at least a week in advance. If you don't buy it until 3 days out, then they will charge you $200. Remember, we only had $104 to make the Memory Maker work it. So if you're not staying on property and you're staying 5 days during the holiday season with a park hopper, it's cheaper to get the annual pass just for 5 days. If you're going to go visit more than once in a year, it's definitely worth it. Now, keep in mind, if you're staying on property, not during the holiday season, but at other times of year, there will be special deals given to annual pass holders. You'll also be able to get magnets different times of year and other different gifts different times of year. If you're not paying for the parking, then yeah, that $125 may or may not make a difference to you. In addition, if you are an annual pass holder or a DVC club member, you have the ability to join something called Tables in Wonderland. It's $175 for Florida residents. It's $150 for annual pass holders or DVC members. Tables in Wonderland offers a 20% discount, including alcohol, for most restaurants, not all of them. There's an actual list, and if you go to the Disney site, you can see the restaurants they include. And if you're planning on going to any of those, it's worth it. Add on top of that, it doesn't just cover you. If you're paying the bill, which means people hand you Disney gift cards or whatever, so you're putting the physical cash out, you can put 10 people on that with you. So one person could sit down and 9 other people at the table with them, and as long as you're the one paying the bill, you can get 20% off of everybody's, which means only one of you in your group needs to buy an annual pass. And only one of you in your group, if there's more than one of you, can then buy that Tables in Wonderland. And both of you can then split the cost of it and use the benefit of it. Huge savings. All the fun stuff I'm learning now. So, and if you spend in that 5 days on Disney property, amongst all of the people in your group, if you spend $750, you have paid back that $150. And remember, it includes alcohol. Now, it may not cover all the little stands and things as you're going through, some of Epcot, etc. But when you're sitting in a sit-down restaurant, there are some wines, a single drink of wine, a bottle of wine, not a bottle of wine, a glass of wine could be $15, could be $20, could be $120. But your entire bill is 20% off. Something to keep in mind. By the way, does anyone have questions? Because I know I'm throwing a whole lot of information at y'all right now. So this is technically a chat. Please feel free to make comments in here. The other things that you want to keep in mind. Well, now we'll talk about food, since we're talking about food. When I track out my days, I can tell you I do sit-down meals for 2 meals a day. And I'm not talking, I generally don't do quick service, although I may be doing some more quick service coming up this next trip. But because of my food issues, I usually do sit-down meals so I can talk to a chef, so I can kind of work through all my stuff. I will usually not do breakfast. I might do snacks, but I generally account for an average day where I'm doing, I usually I end up doing signature restaurants at Disney, which are the more expensive restaurants. I will get at least a drink. I will get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert pretty much all the time. With that in mind, on a universal day, including buying butter beers and whatever other random snacks I have during the day, which is not a ton, but it's definitely more than one butter beer generally, I will expect to spend about $150 a day on food for myself. Again, I do sit down, and you've seen how many levels of stuff I get. If I'm going to Disney and I'm going to be sitting down, I will spend anywhere from $175 to $250 a day in food and drink. This includes when I go drinking around the world. Because the drinks and drinking around the world, depending on what you get and where you get, can be anywhere from $6 for an inexpensive beer or something, and those prices are starting to go up, but it'd be around that, to tequila that costs what, $25, Drew? Is that what your shot cost? Mine was about 20. But you can get really upscale stuff. So drinking around the world, you're looking at spending anywhere, there are 9 countries. You're supposed to drink at all of them. Yeah. Thank you, because you knew that was on my bill, didn't you? And what I do generally when I'm drinking around the world when I'm traveling with someone is everyone then takes a different country. So, I bought Mexico. He bought Norway, yeah. And then I bought China, and he bought, we didn't drink at the Outpost. We may next time. I heard they've got a couple interesting drinks I'll have to try. But he bought at Germany. And then I bought in Italy, and then he bought in America, etc. Back and forth, back and forth. That's generally the way we do it. And it ends up being really nice, because then it's just easier for one person to pay, and it just simplifies it, and it all evens out in the wash, with the exception of $25 tequila shots. So that being said, so you're looking at, so you're saying $300 a day for your universal food. And remember, if you do quick service, okay, so if you don't want to do sit down, I can tell you to expect, I know it's not a country, Drew. Outpost is not a country. But I've been told they have a couple interesting alcoholic beverages, so I'm going to have to go and try those next time. So as I was saying, you're looking at spending $150 for universal, but if you're going to do quick service, expect a quick service meal to be anywhere. Universal is less expensive than Disney, but expect the quick service meals to run you about, if you're getting a drink and a sandwich or something, or like an entree, you're looking at about $15 to $25 per quick service. Universal is going to be closer to the 15 level. Disney is usually around the $20 level and might go up to 25 depending on what you get, just as a heads up. So if you're just going to do 2 quick service meals, you're looking then at $50 for the 2 meals. If you bring protein bars like I do for breakfast, that's great. If you want to buy something for breakfast, figure another $10 to do a snacky kind of thing. So that's $60. And then you're looking at, and this is Disney, we're talking $60, a couple snacks during the day, maybe a few drinks. You're talking $100 to $125 if you're just going to do quick service. And I would say you're comfortable with that. And then when you're doing the table service, figure a table service meal is going to run you anywhere, if you're doing appetizer, entree, dessert, and a drink, you're looking at anywhere from $60 to $150 for one meal. Some places are not going to be that expensive. I can tell you, like at Flying Fish, my meal before taxes would have come to $108. But that was a signature meal. That was a higher end meal. Whereas when I went to the Wave, it probably only was about a $50 to $55 meal. So you can suss that out and you can figure that out for yourself. Pardon me, I'm just grabbing something over here. So you've got the flexibility kind of to plan your own food. And like I said, you can make it more feasible. Part of the script, one of the must scream Outpost. Gotcha. Yes. Outpost is not a country. It is not a tumor. So that's food. Food is your other big expense there, or can be. It doesn't have to be. Now, if you're staying at a timeshare like I do, we had a refrigerator, we had a stove, we had all kinds of stuff there. Hello, new person who came in. Go ahead and say hi in the chat. But you've got a whole lot of food options. I've done it where I've actually picked up breakfast foods and cooked breakfast in there, or just had cereal with milk, or, just you want to make it an early night one night. You're not going to go late in the parks. You could pick up, McDonald's if you wanted. I don't recommend it, but you could, and bring that back to your timeshare and sit there. Or if you're at one of the DVC timeshares, if you rent points and go and stay in somebody's timeshare, and you've got that full refrigerator, that's great. I will also mention that if you're staying in a timeshare and you eat a meal and the meal is too big, which I've had happen to me, I'll bring the food home. And more often than not, because it's got a microwave in the timeshare, I have reheated that and made that another meal. And it's a significant breakfast at that point, or a second dinner, or whatever you want to do. So you've got that kind of flexibility in a timeshare. Disney, from what I understand, and if anyone else knows otherwise, please feel free to correct me. Disney does not have microwaves in the room, so it's not going to be you're not going to be able to reheat in the same way. But if you don't mind eating it cold, there will be a fridge in the room, depending on what you get. Don't leave salads for very long, but there are definitely things that, if you're fine with, are good. Meals are always too large. You are correct. Well, also, Drew, you are notorious for getting 2 appetizers plus your entree plus other stuff. And they make big portions. So, sometimes if it's just 2 people, you're not on the dining plan, and we'll talk dining plan in just a moment. That may end up not, you may want to do 1 appetizer amongst the 2 of you and save a little money that way too. Dining plan. So there are 3 levels of dining plan. And one of the special things hi, Lori Beard. Yes, the meals are huge, and be aware that you can order just what you want. You do not have to order. One of the things I learned is, so say you see something on the menu and it says, oh, look, you can get this salad and sandwich and it's X price. It's like $15 for the salad and the sandwich. And you go, yeah, but I really only want the sandwich. I don't want the side. I don't want the fries, or I don't want the salad. You can say, hey, I just want the sandwich, and they will just charge you for the sandwich. It's a lovely little extra thing to know, so you don't have to overeat some of that stuff, which is something new I wasn't aware of before. Very cool. So dining plan. So certain times of the year, and these are the things you need to look out for, they will do things like a free dining plan. And it depends. Like if you're in the value resort, I think it just gives you like a single meal. Or it might do the quick service version. The moderates can sometimes be quick service or the standard meal plan, and the deluxe is usually the standard meal plan. You can upscale those, and you can pay a little bit more to go to the upscale version, or you can just decide to prepay and do the dining plan up front. But be very aware that you're going to eat that much in Disney, because you have to. The dining plan works that you have to. Everyone in the group has to get the same level of dining plan, and you have to get it for every night of your stay. So like if you want to switch hotels, like start at a Disney hotel and do it for 5 days there and then go to your other hotel, you could do that, or vice versa. Or you would need to, you would want to look at not doing it and paying as you go. If you're vegetarian, not going to recommend the dining plan, just because the vegetarian options on the menu are usually the least expensive options on the menu. And if you're getting the least expensive option on the menu, you're not making the best value out of it. You need to spend about $36 on your table service meal to make each of your meals kind of hit their value. You need to spend a minimum of $4 on your snacks that you pick up, like what their regular price would have been. That's the only way you're going to get the value out of it. So there are 3 levels of the dining plan. So like I said, you had that one that was just the snack. The standardized one that everyone gets is 1 table service, 1 quick service. I'm sorry. So the lower end one is 2 quick service and I think 2 snacks. The middle range is 1 quick service, 1 table service, and a snack. And the deluxe is 3 table service and 2 snacks. And with any of them, you get the refillable mug that is right now, if you went and just bought the mug, it's like $18.95. And it is only fillable at the resorts. But if you're the kind of person who resort hops, now you get up in the morning, you hit the parks, ooh, isn't this fun? And then you want to take a break and hit a resort, especially when it's really hot, and just see what another resort is like. Keep that mug with you, because when you get to the next resort, you can get something there and it's included. As long as you have that refillable mug, that it lasts the length of your stay. So the top level of the dining plan is what Drew and I got. And I did that because I knew me. I knew we were going to have a really long day at the beginning and the end, so we could use all of our stuff up pretty quickly. And even with the 2 tours we got, which gave us meals, so we didn't need meals, we still ended up eating all of our meals, all of our physical meals, because we did the signature dining, and when you do a signature meal, it's 2 credits, which is why I was saying it's 36 per regular credit. So it's $72. That's what you needed to kind of price point out for your higher end meals at a signature meal. It worked out good for us. We did have a couple snack credits near the end. And while they generally say, don't use them for sodas or stuff, well, we used them for beignets. And then we did actually get sodas, because it's not like it was the soda in the room and our beveragey thingy wasn't going to last anymore. So we had a couple beverages in our new hotel, in our timeshare. So you didn't have to pay for them. That ended up being okay for us. Generally, try to do something you can't get elsewhere. If you're going during one of the food and wine festivals, the free dining can be kind of lovely, because all the little kiosks, most of those foods are Disney Dining Plan covered, which is lovely. So the 2 last things that I did not account for. The first is tipping. When you get to the airport, if you want to pre-check your bags, like at the front, rather than taking them up, then you're talking about $2 to $3 per bag. Well, no, $1 to $2 per bag is what's generally recommended. When you do the Magical Express, if you're doing Disney, and they bring the bags to your room when you're not there, you don't have to tip. However, if you go to the desk and they bring the bags to your room for you when you're there, then you want to give at least $2 to $3 per bag. And depending on how much work they have to do. Then housekeeping. Now, there are 2 ways of doing it. If you have a housekeeper coming into your room every day, you want to at least do a couple bucks a day. That's the standard. And you leave that with a little thank you note so they can pick that up when they clean the room. Disney has started doing something where, depending on the length of your stay, if you say, I don't want the housekeeper to come in and tidy up and clean up every day, and if you say that you don't want them, they give you a gift card that equates to, I believe it's $10 per night. So our stay, we had 3 nights there. So we got a gift card, and I think we actually got it for $40. No, $20. So it was a little bit less than $10 a night. So we had this $20 gift card. We used it to get a couple drinks. And it's an electronic gift card. They email it to you, and then you just scan it when you go to purchase something. And it was lovely. No matter what, use it, or you were leaving money. Exactly. Yeah. You want to use up every snack credit, every food credit, every table service. If you don't think you're going to use all of them up when you track out your schedule, don't get the dining plan. That's why you want to kind of mock up your schedule and go, all right, well, if we go to this park this day, these are the places we want to go. Well, this is a two table service credit. Well, this one's only 1 table service credit, and kind of mock through it and see if it's worth it. Now, we paid for our dining plan. We didn't have the free dining plan, but we still prepaid for our meals, basically. There are a couple things that aren't on there, like the poutine at Le Cellier doesn't count. So you're going to get that, you have to pay more for it. But they'll tell you up front when you sit down, you'll say, I'm part of this particular dining plan, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you're an annual pass holder and you get Tables in Wonderland, dining plan doesn't make sense. Just doesn't. And often when they're doing those deals, it's you pay full price for the room and you get the free dining plan, or you can get a discounted price for the room. Like I said, if you got the annual pass, you don't need the dining plan. Get the discounted price for the room and save your money there, because you're getting 20% off of all your other stuff, or 10% off of all your other stuff. Plus, if you get that Tables in Wonderland, you're getting 20% off of everything, including your booze. The last thing you want to account for, and not everybody does this, you don't need to do this, but depending on what your interests and likes are tours. Tours can start as inexpensively as $25 to do the behind the scenes tour at Epcot, which is an hour-long walking tour where you go in the Living with the Land and you go behind it and you get to see how all of that works. It's really fun. It can go upwards of multiple thousands for a special VIP tour person walking you around and getting you on rides and stuff. Or it could be a mid-range. The Wild Africa Trek, which is a slightly higher price tour, was $250. If you're a Visa gift card holder, a Visa credit card holder, Chase Visa, or I think annual pass holders might, but I'm pretty sure it's mostly with the Visa card. You can get 15% off of that, which pays for your tax and a little bit more. You also can, the other tours that you can do that are on the lower end range, they're usually between about $70 to $100. The 3 Magic Kingdom ones, from Marceline to Main Street, from Keys to the Kingdom, and Backstage Magic. Backstage Magic is about 170, I think, because it's a 7-hour tour. You're in the Utilidors. It takes a little longer. You get a lunch there. The Keys to the Kingdom is a 5-hour tour. Still, it's about $100, and you also get lunch in that one. And then the Marceline to the Magic Kingdom is only a 3-hour walking tour. You don't get lunch, and it was only $60, I think. And then again, I got my discount on it, which was that much better. And then of course, I highly recommend, if you're trying to save that money, is if you want to pre-buy. So you're using gift cards, pre-buy, and if you have a BJ's membership, or sometimes Sam's Club and sometimes Costco, not in my area, but in some other areas, you can buy gift cards, $100 gift card, but only pay $96. And some Targets, I think, have that option as well, if you have the Target Red card, where you can buy them through that, and I think you get a 5% discount off of that. So you're getting $100 worth of food for the money back. And if you buy them with your Disney Visa gift card, then for every $100 you spend, you make another dollar you can spend at Disney. So you're getting $5 back. And that's kind of where I'm starting now. I'm starting to do the purchasing of the gift cards for this next trip. And I'll probably buy them with the Visa gift card at BJ's, so I can get that additional kind of money back. And yeah, it becomes very useful. So those are the things that cost money and some ways you can save money. As I said at the beginning, when I'm sussing out a trip, it could be anywhere for me from $2,000 to $3,500. Now, the $3,500 year, I believe, was the year that we also did Victoria and Albert's, which was $500 just for that meal alone. And we did spa treatments. That's another thing you can add on, which can get very pricey, but is lovely to do. If you've got kids and you want to look at doing some of the places that have like a kid care thing, where so the mom and dad can have a night alone kind of thing, that's, I think, like $65 a night. It may have changed. The Peter Pan one, which Lori, I think, took advantage of, is no longer around, but they have one at the Contemporary now. So, you have that kind of an option of like a babysitter kind of thing, and you can equate those costs in. But I generally try to suss this out for what I know, which is traveling as adults, 2 to 3 adults. Buy some things you can expect to need in advance at a reduced cost, such as, ponchos, etc. Have the umbrella or the poncho with you. You can go to the dollar store and buy a poncho for $1, and it's this little tiny thing, and you stick it in your bag, and it's with you if it really does decide to rain, because it will rain in Florida. At some point during your trip, it's going to rain, because tropics, rain, stuff. Like I said, I bring my protein bars, which might be $1.50, and then that's my breakfast. I usually try to keep 2 to 3 of them in my bag at all times, or like every morning, and I'll have one around for breakfast. And then if we're standing in line and it's not quite lunch and I'm starting to get hungry, I'll pop one of those open. Yes, they will charge you about $8 for a poncho in the park. That was what I think the Harry Potter ones we ended up having to get this past year were. So yeah, bring your own. Much cheaper, much more. They may not be as pretty, but they're going to work well. Does anyone else have any questions, any thoughts, what were your trips costing you guys? I'm just talking about a group of 2, or at least for my costs in a group of 2. What does it cost when you have a family of 3 or 4? And then how much difference was there adding on the child versus not? You guys can speak to that better than I, or some of you can better than I. Still trying to figure out who our other person is. Terry, are you still here, or did I lose you? I have no idea. But we're at 53 minutes. That was most of what I wanted to kind of cover, to give you kind of an idea of what costs are. It's, again, a lot of Jenga. I will make a little Excel spreadsheet and drop in the worst case pricing, and then when things actually come through, just to kind of see. Like I said, you have ways to save on your flights. You have ways to save on your on the tickets. In terms of annual passes for Universal, sometimes those can end up, oh yeah, good, you're still here, cool. Were there any other questions you had about costs? Because I know you're looking at making a plan to go, and you're looking at adults going. If you're looking at staying on property, or you're looking at a different direction that you want to go, is there something that you're looking for costs on specifically, or something you want to get a heads up on that can help you with this particular thing? And also, as a side note, while it's not at a discount, you can go on the Universal website and pre-buy gift cards there. So if you don't want to carry the cash and you want to have the money kind of accounted for, you could have a Universal gift card. For those, they can buy anything in any of the Universal stores. The Disney ones, anything on Disney property, pretty much. There's very, very little that is not covered. So if you're staying off property, are you looking at the timeshare? Are you looking at a hotel? I stayed at a Hampton Inn up near Universal. It was good. It was basic. You know, we weren't in the room a whole lot. It was clean. It had it was right off the highway, not anything amazing view wise, but it was pretty quick to get to Universal. Excellent, excellent. Do you mind saying what company it's with? Like, is it Hilton or Wyndham or anything like that? Just curious, because I'm just in terms of whether or not you guys would want to rent a car, or if you're going to do the Uber thing, because it's, like I said, it's going to be based on the time. If you've got AAA, highly recommend looking at calling them and calling their people to find out how much they charge. They will push you for Hertz because Hertz is what they cover, but they will be able to offer you other rentals that might be a little less expensive. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, timeshare. So none of the timeshares are particularly far from everything. Like I said, that for my timeshare, which is sort of halfway between Universal and Disney, with tip, it was like $14 to $18 generally to get from our place to the property. And then once you're on Disney, you're going everywhere. You had your own vehicle the best time. It was okay. Well, so you're gonna have to decide how many days you're going to decide whether or not it's worth it to do an annual pass or not. Because even with having that car there, like, so once you get onto Universal property, you don't need your car. Disney property, it's huge. I mean, it's a resort. So you may end up wanting Kissimmee. Okay. Now, when I was a kid, we stayed for the grad trip, we ended up just staying at a property in Kissimmee. That was, where you've got you're standing, outside to get to your from room to room kind of thing. The Hampton Inn was inside hallways. The timeshare, depending on which one you go to, is semi-inside or outside, depending on which one, or inside or semi-inside. I guess that's the best way to describe it. You got to do what's going to fill your particular needs. And I like the freedom of off property. I don't know that you'll need the car anymore. Because, like I said, because Uber and Lyft is so prevalent, if you're bringing your own car and you're driving down, and of course you're going to gas and some tolls and things, and the extra time you're going to lose from that trip, then yeah, if you don't have to pay for renting the car, it's worth it. If you do need to rent a car, like I said, suss out a couple different prices before you commit, or go with ones that will allow you to kind of change your mind if you don't like what they're doing. But anybody else have any other questions? I got like another 2 minutes, 2 minutes left. They said I'm sending too many messages. They did not. You are not sending too many messages. Whoever said that to you, they lie. This is a live chat, and I'm not chatting with you if I don't get feedback from you. Now, granted, of course, you guys see this stuff over here, and I'm looking over here. If you are watching this after the fact, please go ahead and put comments underneath to let me know if you have questions that you would like addressed. If you have enjoyed our conversation today, please like this video. It helps me if you say that it was liked. Share this if you know somebody who needs information. Find the ones that are appropriate to your stuff. Share, like, subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. You guys all are, but if you're watching this and it seems interesting, I try to do live chats once a week. Next week, I believe, thank you for the like, whoever did that. Next week, I will probably try to do it. I'll probably be normal time. 2 weeks from now might be a little bit. Thank you for the second like. It will probably be earlier in the evening because I know I have plans, which I will share with some people when I'm done this. I appreciate you guys spending time with me. Let me know what topics you want me to cover next time. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, which is pretty much everyone who's here now, please go ahead and, pop in and give me your thoughts. You can give me thoughts in advance so that I don't go, hey, these are the 2 topics I'm going to talk about, and they're not what you want to hear. But the more kind of time I have in advance to know what you guys want to know about or what you want me to wax poetical about, the better off I can address whatever you want to hear. I know I did my favorite rides. I don't know if I've done favorite restaurants yet or favorite, what is it you want me to wax poetical about? So we are at about 60 minutes. Thank you for hanging out with me and chatting. And I'll see you next time, I guess. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.